Dear friends, welcome to E-Pathshala. I am Dr. Vishal Jadhav, Department of Sociology, Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapeeth, Pune. Today we are going to look at a module titled Basic Concept of Domination, Legitimation, Authority and Bureaucracy, which is part of the political sociology paper. This module will try and assess Max Weber's view on how power is organized in modern capitalist states. It begins with Marxist understanding of the capitalist state and also the Marxist understanding of class. Thereon, it goes on to understand and comprehend how domination and legitimation takes place through the process of rationalization. Domination. One of the most widely accepted and popular definitions of power is that given by German sociologist Max Weber, who said that power is the ability to exercise one's will over others. Power affects more than just personal relationships. It shapes larger dynamics like social groups, professional organizations, and governments. Similarly, a government's power is not necessarily limited to control of its own citizens. This is a very broad definition and includes a very wide range of types of power. This vastness was then reduced for making the idea more applicable and useful in the study of society. The concept of domination thus entered this parlance. Weber defines domination as the probability that certain specific commands or all commands will be obeyed by a given group of persons. Domination included the elements of obedience, interest, belief and regularity. Weber notes that every genuine form of domination implies a minimum of voluntary compliance, that is, an interest based on ulterior motives or genuine acceptance in obedience. There exists various examples to showcase the existence of domination in daily life. Domination is witnessed in parent-child relationships, employer-employee relationship, teacher-student, political rule, etc. Francis Frankl provides two ideas of dominance and power to understand the society-state relationship in India. Dominance, according to the author here, refers to the exercise of authority in society by groups who achieved politico-economic superiority and claimed legitimacy for their commands in terms of superior ritual status or through alliances with those who control status distribution. Power, on the other hand, means the exertion of secular authority by individuals appointed or elected to offices of the state who claimed legitimacy under law to make and implement decisions binding on the populations within their territorial jurisdiction. In fact, the applicability of these concepts can be seen in case of India both in the earlier as well as in the contemporary times. While the entire power structure in the earlier times was built on the basis of an intricately constructed network of alliances of social domination, there existed the regional Raja at the middle level, followed by the intermediary Zamindars at the local level, by the Zamindars and substantial peasants. A similar frame of domination can be witnessed in the post-independence democratic structures of state power and social domination by ethnic groups. John Harris, however, distinguishes between old politics and new politics. The former, with its focus on political parties and trade unions, is seen as dirty, whereas new politics, with its strong association with technocratic rationalizing modernism, is perceived to be good. In closed systems of stratification, according to Gupta, the actually existing hierarchy can be seen as an expression of political power. This domination comes across through various means, for instance, language of caste, religion or patriarchy. This idea can be seen in relation to Gramsci's discussion on hegemony, which according to him is the capacity of a class to build a moral and intellectual leadership. The disputes existed in the actual empirical existence of the dominated. This is because these ideologies were ascriptive in nature. Thus, to be born a non-Rajput in a Rajput stronghold would have several disadvantages. This is why when domination is based on purely ascriptive grounds, there is no agreed reasons as to why the dominated should ideologically accept the domination. In feudal estates, for instance, different stratas always interact only on the basis of already established rules that were guaranteed by political power. Thus, there existed no major intellectual challenge to discuss the source of legitimacy in feudal state. Power became authority without major transformation. For Lukes, power could be seen in three ways, including decision making, non-decision making power, and ideological power. Dominance can thus be seen as a power relation. This power relation includes voluntary obedience. Individuals are not forced to obey but do so voluntarily. Those who obey do so because they have an interest in doing so, or at least believe that they have such an interest. Belief in the legitimacy of the actions of the dominant individual or group there. The particular claim to legitimacy is to significant degree and according to its type treated as valid. Compliance or obedience is not random or associated with a short-term social relationship, but is a sustained relationship of dominance and subordination, so that regular patterns of inequality are established. While Weber's definition of domination may be narrow, it is a useful way of examining relationships that do become structured. While employer-employee or other types of relationships characterized by domination and subordination often involve conflict, the use of force is not always an aspect of these. It is important to note the differences in the conception of power itself. Parsonian definition of power would thus need to rethink Weber's assumption that power always involves domination and subordination. There are some forms of cooperative and non-dominative power. For Foucault, power can be seen as relational. No one lacks power in some form, and thus the start and clear demarcation of domination and subordination can be quite faulty. In his view, the dominated also produce their own consent. This brings us to the notion that is entailed within domination, power, and authority. That is the basis of legitimation. Legitimacy has gained quite a prominent place over time. Concepts like power, influence, or authority can actually remain effective only when they are legitimate. The word has been derived from the Latin word legitimas, which in English means lawful. According to Dahl, legitimacy includes the elements of being right, propriety, and moral goodness. For instance, the de facto government becomes de jure on acquiring legitimacy. Once legitimacy is lost, a government can be overthrown in a democratic setup. Giddens discusses various levels of legitimacy and how these might become established over a period of time. According to Gupta, legitimacy was the foundation on which the difference between power and authority is based for Weber. He goes on to argue that authority is understood as the relation between the ruler and the ruled. For brute power is now delegitimized, making it possible to study politics across historical periods. There exist three major sources of legitimacy according to Weber. Tradition. Leaders may be obeyed according to established set of traditions. Exceptional personal qualities, certain exemplary character of an individual may make it legitimate. And legality. A rational legal system can be seen as a source of legitimacy. David Easton described three types of legitimacy as follows. Ideological legitimacy. Such legitimacy is based on an ideology. Ideology seeks to state the aims and objectives of a political system. These aims and objectives may help in establishing legitimacy. Second, structural legitimacy. Every system is marked by a particular set of goals. Political power is wielded according to these goals. This basis of validation is structural legitimacy. Personal legitimacy. The behavior and personality of some members make them as trustworthy authorities and thus become legitimate. Weber introduces the idea of usage too, when people develop uniform codes of conduct. The established usages over a period of time can be seen as customs according to him. A custom is followed by a convention. Convention can be seen as the stronger form of conformity. The compliance here is not simply customary, but there is existence of a number of sanctions in case one does not comply with the convention. The degree of sanctions may differ. The convention, when adopted by a group which has the legitimate capacity to impose and put in effect the sanctions, may become what can be termed as law. This can begin to create a legal order where a group assumes the task of applying sanctions to punish transgressions, for example, a clan, priesthood, or elders. Where this can be applied over a territorial unit, with others safeguarded by threat of physical force, then this can create a political order. The threat and application of physical force by an administrative staff with legal, administrative, military, or police functions. Thus, we may conclude that there exists a running thread through different political concepts when seen sociologically. This brings to one of the most popular concepts of political sociology, authority. Authority. The concept of authority is quite close to the concept of power. According to MacIver, authority is often defined as power, the power to command obedience. For Robert Dahl, legitimate power is often called authority. Weber defines authority as legitimate forms of domination, that is, forms of domination which are considered legitimate by followers or subordinates. Legitimate does not necessarily imply any sense of rationality, right, or natural justice. Rather, domination is legitimate when the subordinate accept, obey, and consider domination to be desirable or at least bearable and not worth challenging. However, this authority can be questioned from time to time, as it is the willingness of those who are subordinate to believe in the legitimacy of the claims of the dominant. Authority can be seen as a means to extend and maintain power. A study of authority and its origin can be a way to understand how people come to dominate as well as how people accept domination as a regular and structured phenomena. Weber thus came up with the following ideal types to understand the nature and existence of authority. Types of authority. Traditional authority. Traditional authority, as the name suggests, is based on the traditional rights of a powerful and dominant individual or group. In many cases, traditional authority is reinforced by culture such as myths or connection to the sacred, symbols such as the flag, and by structures and institutions which perpetuate this traditional authority. In Weber's words, this traditionalist domination rests upon a belief in the sanctity of everyday routines. Ritzer notes that traditional authority is based on a claim by the leaders and a belief on the part of the followers that there is virtue in the sanctity of age-old rules and powers. This form of authority has been quite common in several societies throughout time. There exist several examples of such authority. Examples of traditional authority can be seen in the form of gerontocracy, or rule by elders, patriarchalism, where positions are inherited. Patriarchalism can be seen as one of the most important type of domination where legitimacy is drawn from tradition. Charismatic authority. Weber defines charismatic authority as resting on the devotion to the exceptional sanctity, heroism, or exemplary character of an individual person, and of the normative patterns or order revealed or ordained by him. Charisma can thus be seen as quality of an individual personality that is considered extraordinary, and followers may consider this quality to be endowed with exceptional powers or qualities. The belief of the followers in the qualities is important. Charismatic authority finds its base in the recognition or acceptance of the claims of the leader by followers. While it is irrational in that it is not calculable or systematic, it can be revolutionary, breaking traditional rule, and can even challenge legal authority. The charismatic leader gains and maintains authority solely by proving his strength in life. Ridza comments that authority legitimized by charisma rests on the devotion of followers to the exceptional sanctity, heroism, or exemplary character of leaders, as well as on the normative order sanctioned by them. All these modes of legitimizing authority clearly imply individual actors' thought processes, beliefs, and actions. Legal or rational authority. This is authority or legitimate domination resting on rational grounds, resting on a belief in the legality of enacted rules and the right of those elevated to authority under such rules to issue commands. Legal authority can be seen developing through various ways. Systems of conventions, laws, and regulation develop in many societies, and there are many different principles of legality that occur. With the development of a rational legal system, there is likely to be a political system which becomes rationalized. Elements like constitutions, written documents, established offices, regularized modes of representation, regular elections, and political procedures are all associated with this. As a political or legal system develops in this rational manner, authority takes on a legal form. Those who are subordinate within the system accept the legality of the rulers, believing they have the legitimate right to exercise power. Those with power then exercise power based on this right of legitimacy. This rational legal form of authority, however, may be challenged by those who are subordinate. Sanctions of authority. There exist certain sanctions through which authority is maintained in society. Social sanction. Authority can be accepted by individual due to fear of society. Economic security. Acceptance of an authority may bring some benefits to people and elevate their status in society. Sanction of purpose. This is in relation to attain a goal. For the efficient functioning of an organization, for instance, juniors might accept authority of the seniors. Psychological sanction. Authority may be asserted only on the basis of seniority. This would be a psychological reason. The kind of legitimate dominance is quite common in Indian households too, as elaborated by K.L. Sharma. However, it is important to note here that the assumption that there exists group dominance over individuals has to be questioned. As Sharma notes, whenever the patriarch of a joint family becomes autocratic and ignores the right of the younger people, this authority over individualism was subverted and new sanctions were enforced. It can thus be said that authority is always subjected to limitations. Subordinates may oppose authority, thereby making it lose its legitimacy. The difference between power wielders of today and yesterday lies in the fact that group rank membership as a determinant of elite position has withered away. Today, elites are an aggregation and not an active functioning primordial group, as the members lack group homogeneity. The elements including legitimacy, dominance, rationality, and accountability thus remain integral in maintenance of authority. Bureaucracy. The term bureaucracy has been quite popular in administrative and political parlance. It has been widely used with diverse connotations directed at government and business. Bureaucracy can be seen as an administrative system which aims to manage and achieve huge, large-scale administrative tasks in a systematic and organized manner by coordinating work between a number of individuals. It is interesting to note that the bureaucratic power has been regarded as the ideal type of power. According to Weber, bureaucracy is a system of administration characterized by expertness, impartiality, and the absence of humanity. Goldner too discussed various patterns of bureaucracy and bureaucratization. As for him, bureaucracy could take different forms that are experienced differently by employees. Characteristics of bureaucracy. A number of features have been attributed to bureaucracy by Weber himself. These can be seen as follows. Administrative class. Bureaucratic organizations generally have administrative class responsible for maintaining coordinative activities of the members. The prominent features of this class are people who are paid and are whole-time employees. Salary and other perks are given on the basis of their position. The rules and regulations of the organizations are important in order to determine the tenure of the employees. They do not have any proprietary interest in the organization. Competence and capability in the general criteria for the selection of people for employment. Hierarchy. The major feature of a bureaucratic organization is the existence of a hierarchy of positions. Hierarchy can be regarded as a system of ranking various positions in a descending scale. In bureaucratic organizations, offices also follow the principle of hierarchy. That is, each lower office is subject to control and supervision by higher office. The idea of control and scrutiny is central to hierarchy in a bureaucratic organization. The hierarchy then helps in a line of communication across different levels of offices, thereby leading to delegation or authority too. This is to say that there exists officers with an equal level of authority but are allocated different functions in different areas of work. For instance, a government organization has 3 different offices, each looking at particular functions only. Division of work. Division of labor is a prominent aspect of bureaucratic organization. Work is divided according to the specialization that people have in order to take out the maximum utility. This is done on the basis of different competence needed for different offices. The work involves certain important things. These are: A. The work involves a particular set of duties that are to be performed to mark the systematic division of labor. The provision of the incumbent with necessary authority to carry out these functions, and C. The various means of punishment also are not arbitrary. These are clearly defined. The division of labor thus becomes a very crucial marker for a competent functioning of the system, wherein all people as well aware of their duties function according to the given set of rules and obligations. This leads to a smoother functioning of the organization, and all the work that needs to be done is carried out in an efficient and productive manner in typical understanding. Official rules. Any bureaucratic organization cannot function without a basic set of rules. The entire administrative setup and processes are based on these rules. This is in sharp contrast to a temporary or unstable kind of ad hoc systems of relations. To maintain the right level of uniformity and coordination among different departments, these set of rules are the most handy and desirable. Impersonal relationships. As seen above, official rules are integral to any administrative organization. Thus, relation between people are also governed according to these set of rules and authority ideas. The existence of personal emotion, sentiment, and involvement is thus kept at a minimum. The governing basis can be seen as rational actors rather than as personal sentiments. Impersonality is thus crucial in the making of bureaucracy. This impersonality can be seen both within the organization, amongst the people themselves, and also with the outsiders. Official record. Official records are necessary when talking about bureaucratic organizations. Documentation and archiving is thus necessary. All decisions and activities are recorded in a formal manner and thus preserved for any kind of future reference. The official records can be seen as form of encyclopedia for the entire bureaucratic organization. This can be seen as an open system marked by continuous hierarchy. In a continuous hierarchy, the different stratas bind together because they are arranged on a scale. For instance, in case of caste, as Gupta elaborates, various caste groups have different hierarchies that are not corresponding with one another, These gaps become major causes of caste wars. Bureaucracy as a system may be seen to be prevalent and functional in a big business house and government department which needs a lot of people to carry out diverse set of functions mechanically. However, along with popularity, it has gained much criticism due to the rigidity that marks the processes. This is excessive impersonality and control leading to partial or no development of individual personality. Everybody gets restricted to being developed, to being dependent only on their seniors. There exists a lot of dysfunctional aspects of this kind of setup. The logic of planning and bureaucratic implementation has been critiqued in case of India too, where the professionals are seen as getting converted to a dominant proprietary class. Despite the limitations, the model can be seen as being useful to large enterprises that aim for profit. Thus, this module gives us a fair idea on how power is organized in modern capitalist states. We have seen that domination, authority, legitimation, and the whole process of rationalization is now being used by post-structuralists in understanding how power is being disbursed within societies of the West and of the others, or the so-called ex-colonies of the Western nation states. Thank you.